Kurt, has there ever been a promo that you've gotten into with somebody a little face to face where where you just kind of got a little pissed off? Like, this is all part of the script, but like maybe they just hit home a little too close and you can kind of like, I don't like the way that came out.
You know what? I've never taken any promo seriously.
Okay.
Even if they meant harm to me, or that they were putting me down over my past painkiller issue.
Yes.
I never took it personally. I just it's the business, it's the show. Just move on with it.
Okay. Because John Cena can really get into some people. He wasn't too bad there at all with you, but I know
No,
some of these guys dig deep.
yeah, he can dig deep. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, the show itself was not well received. 8,000 fans with a lot less paying. This is all according to Meltzer. Is this one of those things that stands out about how down the company was at the time? Did it feel like it was a little bit on the downside?
The company always went in cycles. The company was hot, and it started doing a downward spiral, and it got low, then it comes back up again. At this point in time, don't forget, we lost Rock and Austin, two of the biggest names in the business, and we were starting to rebuild. John Cena was getting built up. I was still getting built up, even though I was pretty much over at this particular time. But, we just had to create more bigger stars like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and that's what we did eventually.
All right, let's get into some thoughts and feedbacks from Dave. He said the pay-per-view road to WrestleMania ended with a show that should have had Detour written all over it. No Way Out on February of the 20th from the Mellon Arena in Pittsburgh was a show that looked bad on paper, and in the end, it was bad, if not for the performance of Kurt Angle, who may not have many show-saving performances left in him. It probably would have been the worst show of the year candidate. It once again exemplified why changes are badly needed on the SmackDown side. When it comes to sending some new guys who can be headliners, preferably who can also work, over from Raw of the Benoit and Jericho caliber. Few are over, and the title picture struggles. JBL works hard, but he can't carry anyone. John Cena will be more over as champion, but his match quality may be worse unless he's programmed all year with Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero. Is this a fair assessment in your mind, Kurt, of the SmackDown brand at the time, or do we just need to relax and give John Cena some patience here, or what?
I think you just need to give John Cena some patience. He was still coming into his own. I think the company was really rushing him. Once they got his character down, or John got his character down as the rapper gimmick, he still had some work to do in the ring, and he did. He followed up with it. I know that Eddie Guerrero and I had some of his best matches, but eventually John started having great matches with everybody, so he was ready.
Dave would go on to say Angle was the star of the show, carrying John Cena to one of his better matches. While it wasn't as good as their October 19th, 2003 pay-per-view match from Baltimore, or even his recent TV match with Rey Mysterio from Japan, it showed that Kurt Angle can still carry someone when needed to have a strong match. The flip side of this is that after all these years, Cena really hasn't improved in the ring. And as champion, not everyone is going to be a Kurt Angle. If he hasn't improved by now, man, he's putting you over. If he hasn't improved by now, he may never improve, particularly when the company is going to be pushing him in the crossover celebrity position, which will mean wrestling in the ring won't be near the top of his priorities. You're not surprised to have seen what Cena would turn into later on, but at this point, 3 years in, do you think, Kurt, that John should have been further along in terms of his in-ring performance?
Well, let's not forget, at one point in time, John Cena left and did a movie for like 6 months. He came back every once in a while for a pay-per-view, but he wasn't really training. He wasn't really getting ready. He wasn't improving. And doing that, him being a crossover talent, doing a movie for WWE and then coming back and wrestling for WWE, he was improving slower than most of the other talent. And the reason is because he wasn't putting in the time. But, that movie actually was supposed to be for Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he left the company, and then Vince gave it to me, and then Vince decided to take it away from me and give it to Cena. And meanwhile, I was the one that was injured all the time. I was like, Vince, give me a break. Let me go do a movie and take 6 months off of wrestling. He's like, no, I want Cena to do it. And I was like, oh, man. So John Cena was almost like a pain in my ass.
I'm sure, yeah.
And I didn't mind. I didn't mind putting John over. He was a great guy, great talent. I enjoyed working with him. But, there were certain things that they were doing with John, and it's the reason why he didn't improve as quickly as he should have. And it's not his fault.
Yeah, and you're kind of being looked at as the guy that's either going to help him get there, groom him. You're going to be the guy that's going to help show him the way, if you will, the Jedi Master in pay-per-view quality matches. And it reminds me of a story CM Punk told about how the agents, he said, in WWE would come up to him when he had matches with Roman Reigns to make sure Roman looks strong. Was this same type of scenario that you were hearing from WWE agents at the time? Like, hey, whatever you do, just make sure John looks strong as we're grooming him.
No, no, they weren't because they trusted me. They knew that I would put him over the right way, the way he needed to be put over. I knew he needed to look strong, and I knew he needed to look like a champion. I'm not CM Punk, and CM Punk's not me. So I'm not going to complain about what I had to do for John because I wasn't in the same position. I mean, I don't know if Punk's complaining about it or if he's just being him. But I never had a problem with putting over John Cena.
Right. They had, and what your point is, they knew what they had in you. They knew you would do what you needed to do, and they didn't even ask to tell you that.
Right. They didn't have to tell me that. Maybe they had to tell Punk.